Well, hello, hello. Happy Friday. It is, what day is it? The 22nd? Is that right? I think it is Friday, January 22nd. I am Jamie Trull. I'm a CPA, financial literacy coach, and profit strategist. And I am here to give you an update on all things stimulus as of today, and also take your questions. So these Fridays, every Friday at 1:30 p.m. Central Time, because I'm in Nashville, so I go by Central Time, I will be here to help answer your questions if you're trying to navigate the world of PPP, EIDL, advances, grants, unemployment, stimulus checks, all the things. I am here for it. So let me know when you're here. Say hi. I'm waiting to see some names pop up to make sure that you guys can hear me. That's always my concern, is that you're not going to be able to hear me. Hey, hi, Jennifer. Jennifer from Maryland. Hi. All right, great. So I see some of you guys jumping on now. Awesome. So if you're watching me in the Facebook group, so right now I'm live in my Financial Literacy for Women Business Owners Facebook group. Come on over and join if you're not a member. We have lots and lots of great discussions going on about all of these different things, as well as just financial literacy in general. Oh, there's all the comments. There's Nancy and Cheryl and Mark and Tommy and Jocelyn and Jessica. Okay, great, cool. All right, y'all are here. Just making sure. Awesome. And then I'm also live right now on my YouTube channel. So if you're watching me over on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe, because, it's like a hug to an entrepreneur when you do that. Mark says, thanks for showing the traction book. I don't have it near me. Hang on, I'll grab it. So if y'all are looking for an entrepreneurial operating system, this is what Mark is talking about a couple of weeks ago. I was talking about Traction. This is what we did, how we manage our business, which is using the entrepreneurial operating system. It gives lots of great ways to run meetings and things like that. So we had just done a couple of weeks ago our annual meeting. So I think that's what you're talking about, Mark. I'm glad you enjoy it. I really like Traction. I think it gives a lot more focus to our business and helps us to really be able to make goals that are achievable. Okay, guys. So I am, oh goodness, there's somebody spamming something. Let me block this person. Okay, cool. Yeah, that was weird. Okay. So you guys are awesome. Yeah, come on over to the group. You can also go to jamietrull.com/group to be able to join Financial Literacy for Women Business Owners and be a part of the conversation. If you're watching me in the group, make sure that you go above and give StreamYard the ability to see your name so I can tell who you are. Yes, Traction is so good. Hey, Bree. Okay, so let's talk about the stimulus. I would love for you guys to ask me questions. I'll give you any updates. I was here live on Wednesday just for a short period of time, giving a few updates. So I'm just going to reiterate a couple of those updates. There were new PPP forgiveness applications that came out. Gosh, was that even this week? I've lost track of weeks. I think it was earlier. I think it was Tuesday night. So we had a lot of stuff drop on Tuesday. So there are 3 new applications. If you're in my group, you'll be able to see my post that I did. Just go under announcements within the group. I did a post explaining who uses each of those 3 different applications. There's one application for loans under $150,000, and then there's 2 potential applications you might use if you're over $150,000. So go check that out. They are simplified. Specifically, the one under $150,000 is simplified. It's not that much different if you have over $150,000 anyway. But this simplified application means that you shouldn't have to provide additional documentation. You need to keep documentation in case you're ever audited, but you should not have to provide a whole bunch of bank statements and different things like that. So if your bank is still asking you for that and you have under $150,000 loan, you might want to show them the guidance, because even within that application on the very last page, it says that there's no documentation requirements other than just to keep things in case they need to come back to you. Now, you still have to sign off that you use the money appropriately and that you went by the rules, right? You're the person writing in how much your forgiveness amount is going to be. So you are basically asserting that you've calculated that correctly. So if you're not sure, it might be something to go use, work with a professional on. I have a list of preferred vendors. A lot of them may be able to help as well if you're trying to make sure that you are asking for the right amount of forgiveness, because we don't want to get in trouble, you guys, right? We want to do everything the way that we're supposed to do it, but there are a decent amount of rules. So we want to make sure that we are in compliance. Okay. Let's see. So that's the update on PPP. There's also been a rumor flying around. I want to address, and I think Bree's with me on this, about a rumor that's been flying around. A couple of banks have come out and said to their people that they can't apply for the second round of PPP until they've applied for forgiveness on the first round. That is not my read of the guidance at all. And that's specifically for people over $150,000. So under $150,000, that is definitely not the rule. I think that they are reading a provision incorrectly, those banks. And this is not the first time that some banks have misinterpreted things. So if your bank is telling you, if you're trying to get an over $150,000 second loan and they're telling you you have to apply for forgiveness first, I think they're misreading the rules. So the rules, actually, the way that I read them and the way that Bree and I were talking about, yes, we're going to squash this rumor because I just disagree with it. And I don't know if April's on here too. We were having a whole conversation about this beforehand. Basically, what it really is saying is you can't apply for forgiveness on your second loan before you apply for forgiveness on your first loan. That's what the guidance actually says. Not that you can't apply for the loan. But some banks are missing the forgiveness, and they think that and they're interpreting it as if they can't give second loans to people who haven't applied for forgiveness on the first. It's not true. You should be able to apply for forgiveness, even if you've not gone through the forgiveness process on the first loan. Now, I know some people got caught in this weird, some people are caught in this weird limbo where they've started the process for forgiveness, perhaps back in December, but it hasn't been fully forgiven yet. And it's kind of caught in this weird middle zone, and the bank's having trouble issuing a second loan. So there's some of that going on that's just more procedural from the bank. Those are not the actual rules, however. So hopefully that gets sorted out pretty quickly. It looks like more and more banks are coming on every day that are offering PPP. So hopefully you guys are able to find it. If not, there are posts I know in the group where people are asking where they're getting their PPP. Where has it been easy to get it from? If you're a sole proprietor, there are posts that are specifically about where you should go. So I will reiterate, because a lot of people missed, a lot of sole proprietors, i.e. Maybe self-employed people without employees, did not get the first PPP loan because they didn't realize that they were eligible for it. You are eligible for it if you have a positive net profit. So if you're a sole proprietor, LLC, just you, right? You're going to look at your Schedule C in your tax return. You're going to go to line 31. So that's your net profit in your business from 2019 or 2020, although you probably don't have your 2020 tax return yet, right? But you're going to take that number, divide by 12, multiply it by 2.5. That's what you can get as a PPP loan, and you can get it fully forgiven as payment to yourself. Okay. So I want to make sure that anybody who is in that spot doesn't miss out on this, because you can now go and get that first round loan if you didn't get the first one. And if you are getting a loan and you didn't get the first one, you don't have to prove any kind of reduction in gross receipts. If you're getting a second draw PPP loan, you do have to prove a 25% reduction in quarter-over-quarter gross receipts. So there's posts about that also and what that really means in the group. Again, go to the announcements tab and scroll down a little bit, and you'll see some of the information about these PPP rules that are out there. You can also always go to the Treasury site. It is not always the most fun to navigate. Here, I'm going to show you. So this is so if you go to Treasury, I'm just going to show you how to navigate here because it's a long address. But what I do, I go to treasury.gov, I scroll down, I just go to COVID-19 relief, read more. And then when you scroll down, there's going to be an assistance for small businesses. Click here. This tab has all the information about PPP. It's got the application. So if you go under the for borrowers, you're going to see the fact sheet. You're going to see, look for the dates. The dates are important here, you guys, because some of this information is outdated. So if you're going to come in here, I would look for the most recent information, and you can see the date. So this was how to calculate maximum loan amounts for first draw. That was released on 1/17. Second draw, how to calculate your loan amounts, 1/19. Your fact sheet's a little outdated, so I probably would not take a look at that because that's probably going to be confusing. These are the 3 new application forms. Okay, so those are brand new. Controlling interests, that's something that you might need to look at if that's applicable to you. So this is all really good information. And also down here under program rules. So again, you probably, if it's before December 27th of 2020, I probably wouldn't spend too much time reading it. It might get confusing. But down here, you'll see there's a new interim final rule on loan forgiveness requirements as of 1/19. Interim final rule on second draw loans, right? So you want to look at the ones that basically are January timeframes. So that's going to give you a lot of information to look through. I try to distill it down for you, but in case you ever want to look back and see, because I get a lot of people asking me, I need to see where this is. Show me where it says this. These are the places that you want to look. They're long. I will warn you, they are long, but that's kind of the actual information. Now, I'm also going to show you guys, because this also just came to my attention last week, and Bree and I were just talking about this as well. This is what we talk about in our spare time, you guys. There's a procedural notice came out last week about if you were overfunded. So I've linked to it here. But this is basically about, it was January 15th it came out. And it talks about, a lot of people have wondered, okay, I got too much. Like I applied really early and the banks didn't know, maybe you used your independent contractors, or maybe you're a sole proprietor and they used your gross number instead of your net line 31 to calculate out your loan, right? Whatever it is, if they just calculate it, if you or the bank, either one, calculate it incorrectly, a lot of people have wondered, like, what does that mean for forgiveness? Am I going to be held harmless for that? Or am I going to have to pay part of that back? Well, they finally clarified this out. Okay, you guys, so this procedural notice talks about an excess loan amount error is a borrower or lender error made in good faith that caused a borrower to receive a PPP loan amount that exceeds the borrower's correct maximum loan under the CARES Act and Economic Aid Act, right? So an excess loan amount error does not include a knowing misstatement. Knowing misstatement, that's fraud, you guys. If you intentionally put wrong numbers, right? That's fraud. That's not good. But this is, I didn't know, I did my best, I messed up, the rules weren't clear, the bank messed up, whatever it is, which happened to a lot of people, honestly, a lot of people. And it gives some examples, which basically are just, if you didn't max out your employees at that 100,000, if you put in your independent contractors, right? Like that kind of thing. And you got a loan, or they just gave you more than you should have gotten, right? In any case, whoever's fault it was, it says a borrower may not receive loan forgiveness for any amount that exceeds the correct maximum loan amount permitted by statute for that borrower. This is true whether the excess loan amount was caused by borrower error or lender error. So we thought, well, maybe if we got too much, if we just use it, maybe you can't use it on owner pay, but maybe you could use it on something else. They finally clarified this, a little late, in my opinion. But they finally clarified this, that ultimately, no, you can't. Now, here's the thing that I think will be interesting to see how this rolls out in practice. Because the way that it says this is, it says, when preparing or reviewing a loan forgiveness application, if a borrower or lender identifies an error that resulted in a borrower receiving a larger PPP than they were able to, the lender must issue a decision to the SBA denying forgiveness for that amount that exceeded the borrower's correct maximum loan amount. So it's just the amount above. It doesn't, you can still get forgiven for everything up to the amount you should have gotten. But basically they're saying, if it's determined that you got too much, could some people not get that amount determined, right? Could the banks not realize it, or you not realize it and still end up getting forgiven for the whole thing? Potentially. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But ultimately it's saying, hey, if you know you got too much, you're really supposed to say something, and you're not supposed to get forgiven for that amount above and beyond it. So just in preparation, if that's you, I wanted you to know that and not be surprised if you're not forgiven for the entire amount of your loan. Okay, so I just wanted to show that. Hopefully that was helpful. Okay, so those are some of the things I wanted to update on. Oh, you know what? I'm going to show you also really quickly while I have this up. I'm going to show you, this is sba.gov/coronavirus relief is a good place to go. And it's going to give you different options. You're going to be able to go to Paycheck Protection Program, EIDL, and then the Shuttered Venue Grant, if that's something that's for you. Again, that's sba.gov/coronavirus relief. Just bookmark that page, because I swear I go there multiple times a week. And if you go under EIDL, you'll see here that they have finally updated. You can still apply for the loan. The loans have stayed open this entire time. So if you have not gotten an EIDL, you can apply for one. If you have gotten one, you aren't supposed to apply again. You only get one, but you may be able to get your loan forgiven. So check your loan documents for how you might be able, or not forgiven, sorry. Scratch that. People were just like, wait, I can get EIDL forgiven? No, you may be able to get your loan increased. Check your loan paperwork for information on that. You cannot get EIDL forgiven. Sorry. Only the grant / advance, whatever you want to call it. They mean the same thing, grant and advance, EIDL. Only that part is forgiven, right? And that now no longer has to be subtracted from PPP forgiveness. Yay. Anyway, what I wanted to say with this is they are reopening, sort of reopening EIDL. They're not really reopening you EIDL advance. They're not really reopening a portal for you to apply into. What they're doing is for people who are in designated low income areas, okay, you are going to be able to, I'll find it here. Targeted EIDL advance is what they're calling it. Targeted meaning for low income areas. So if you qualify as a low income area, and this goes by the application, like the actual address you put on the application, which should have been your registered business address if you are a registered business, right? Then you are going to get reached out to by the SBA. I haven't heard of this happening yet. I'm curious to see when it does. So if anybody has had this happen or has this happen, please post on the page and let us know that the SBA reached out to you, that you're that you would potentially qualify for this. And then I believe what they're going to do is ask for you to demonstrate that you had more than a 30% reduction in revenue from during, and it says during an 8-week period, it's right here. During an 8-week period beginning on March 2nd, 2020 or later. If you meet the low-income community criteria, you'll be asked to provide gross monthly revenue, all forms of combined monthly earnings received, such as profits or salaries, to confirm the 30% reduction. So it's an 8-week period before March 2nd, 2020 versus after. If you can show a 30% reduction, you can get your EIDL advance increased up to the $10,000. So if you got $1,000 and you're in a low-income area and they reach out to you and you meet the 30% requirement, they'll give you another $9,000, right? Or if you got $5,000, they'll give you another $5,000. There's not really a way to apply for this. And I also haven't heard a way. A lot of people want to like look at their application and see what address did they put in? Did I put in the right address? You can try and call the SBA. I don't know that they're going to have a lot of answers for you yet. You might have to wait it out and see what happens and see if they start, see if they reach out to you. Let's see. So I don't think you have so if one only received a grant, right? You got the 1,000 grant and 6,000 PPP loan. Where does one find the EIDL ID number if it was just a grant? You don't have an EIDL ID number that I'm aware of. You didn't get a loan. So as far as I know, if that's talking about the loan number, where is it asking for you? Is it asking for that somewhere? Specifically EIDL ID number? I don't know the answer to that. Let's see. I don't believe so. I don't think if you already repaid your, I'm not sure. I would reach out to the SBA and see. It probably depends on the timing as well and what's in your loan paperwork. So I would look back and see what your loan paperwork says about it and what the timing would be, or call the SBA. Okay, let's see. They should only need that if you have an EIDL loan. So I don't know why they would need it if you have a grant. Do we know? I don't know where you even know your EIDL application number, though. If you only got the grant, because I never got a confirmation for mine. So I don't know that that most people would have that. But I'm not sure if you did not actually get the loan. Okay, let's see. I know my NAICS code was input wrong and the amount is too high for my actual code. I have 2 calls into Bank of America and the loan has been flagged, but no answer. Is this for PPP? I'm guessing. So are you getting 3.5 times? Is that what you're saying? It's saying that you were a restaurant, even though you're not. Definitely work with your bank, because the problem is I would not accept, if you accept more, I would talk to your bank first, right? About what's procedurally correct. Because you don't want to accept more than you should have gotten. Because again, that's not going to be forgiven and that could cause some issues. But I wouldn't just you could let time run out, but I wouldn't go reapply somewhere else, because it might run into issues if you've already been approved and you may not be able to get another approval. So I would definitely call your bank. I know at Bank of America, this is why I don't really love, honestly, I've recommended this entire time, credit unions or fintechs. Now, fintechs aren't always great, like fintechs being like PayPal, Square, cabbage. They're not always great with customer service either. The best from a customer service perspective have been the local credit unions. They will actually answer the phone most of the time. So the big banks have been by far gotten the worst reviews from the standpoint of most people with PPP. Let's see. Yeah, so the EIDL, yeah, so they gave you an application number if you wrote it down. I think the problem is a lot of people didn't write theirs down. So you may be able to call and get that. I don't know if it's required, if it's not going to let you, let's see. Yeah, so all the PPP forgiveness. Yeah, so the number that comes on the PPP forgiveness are asking for EIDL app number. Yeah, we applied for the grant. We got an email with an app number. Did you guys get an email even if you didn't get, even just for I can't even remember anymore, you guys. It's been almost a year. I cannot remember. But yes, I would check your email because I cannot even remember at this point whether they gave that or not. Yes, local credit unions and regional banks are thebomb.com for everything. Let's see. Cool. I'm just looking through your questions. Yeah, you can call, it says. Yes. So I think that's what most people have done. If you don't know what it is, give them a call. If anybody has the number and wants to post it, I'll put it up. I can't look it up right now. Although I had it memorized at one point in time, the SBI number. I don't know what that says about me. At one point, they called me because I didn't take my EIDL loan because I ended up not needing it. But they called me at one point to see if I was going to take it. And so I picked up the phone and I saw the number and I knew who it was. And I was like, oh, hey, SBA. And they were very thrown off at the fact that I think it ends in 2955. Anyway, if anybody has it, let me know. Okay. Yeah, that's what happened to a lot of people. You apply for the EIDL grant, you check that little box, you kind of forget about it. They took forever at the beginning, and then finally, money just showed up in your bank account. I do have, so no, I have a calculator. What I have is a PPP tracker. So jamietrull.com/PPP tracker. That's helpful specifically for those of you who have to do that full FTE calculation. That might be something really helpful for you. I also have a second draw eligibility calculator. So jamietrull.com/PPP calculator for the second loan, which talks about the 25% reduction and what quarters you need to look at and whether you're going to qualify. So I don't have a loan calculator from the standpoint of how much you should get, but that is all out here I'll find it. I'll show you exactly where you guys, want to look on this Treasury website. So I think it's let's see, how to calculate maximum loan amounts for first draw, second draw. So it depends. If you're looking for, let's say, your second draw, we'll increase this a little bit, but it immediately says what are gross receipts. It tells you that for all entities, this goes into the whole gross receipts of 25%, what you have to include for your documentation, the different things that you can show, being to show the 25% reduction. You can show your quarterly financial statements. That's probably the easiest thing for most people. You can do your quarterly or monthly bank statements. Or if you have your annual IRS filings, you can use those, or you can actually mock up what they would look like, basically, if you don't have them done yet. So this goes into a lot of the calculation. I think down here, it'll also talk about, how do I calculate if I'm self-employed and have no employees? How do I calculate the maximum second draw loan? And it tells you exactly what to do, right? So it depends on whether you're a sole proprietor, whether you are a partnership, whether you're an s-corp. The calculation is different for all of them. They are the same, though. The calculation is the same, other than the fact that you can use 2020 now if you want to. The calculation is the same for the second as it was for the first. Unless you got the wrong amount on the first, in most cases, you'll get the same amount for the second, unless you decide to use 2020. Or if you're a restaurant, you can actually get 3.5 times average monthly payroll this time around. Hopefully that helps. Okay. Let's see. Yes. Is the PPP loan forgiveness form revised 119? Yep, that is the latest version. And hopefully they haven't done one in the last 3 days. That would be, yes, that is the latest version. The deadline to apply for your PPP loan forgiveness is, well, there isn't technically a deadline. I'll say that. There isn't technically a deadline. You can apply at any time, but payments are due 10 months after after the end of your covered period, or once forgiveness has been determined, whichever one comes first, basically. But at this point, if you wait, you can wait 10 months from the end of your 8 or 24 weeks, in most cases 24 weeks, right, to apply for forgiveness. And that's also the way to, if you're not sure, if you don't think your entire loan is going to be forgiven, you might want to wait to apply for forgiveness, because as soon as you apply, right, as long as it's been 6 months from the time you got the loan, as soon as you apply, that portion that's not forgiven, those payments start becoming due immediately. So a lot of people kind of want to delay it. So don't forget about it. But there is nobody. I think the earliest anyone could have to apply for forgiveness would be April. So before payments start needing to become due. Although I know a lot of people, it just gives you that like you can breathe when you apply. Now, these applications, the new applications just came out on Tuesday. A lot of banks probably have not updated their systems for it. So you may want to wait. Again, I mean, we're kind of playing this like hurry up and wait. Do you feel like that? Like, hurry up. Okay, we got stuff. And now we just wait. We have to wait for them to get their processes in order. And it's frustrating and annoying. But ultimately, it usually takes a couple of weeks for the banks to kind of get their act together from the standpoint of being able to take applications under the new standards. So you may be applying right now and they may still be asking you for all this support. And you're like, wait a second, I thought I wasn't supposed to have to do that. Well, it's because they haven't updated their processes yet. These just dropped Tuesday night. I remember because it ruined my Tuesday night. So, okay, let's see. Should one request for a state and federal tax extension if we take out a second PPP and have remit requested a loan forgiveness for the first? So PPP is not going to have any impact on your taxes from the standpoint of PPP is not taxable income when it's forgiven, and you can still deduct all the expenses. So you should not need to, I'm trying to think if there would be a reason, but in most cases you should not need to extend for PPP reasons. Now, previously, when you had to kind of essentially make an assumption as to whether it was going to be forgiven or not in your taxes, that was a different story. But now it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't really make a difference on your taxes either way. Let's see. If you don't pay yourself, but rather take a draw from your business account and using 2020 for the PPP, do you use the amount you normally pay yourself? Okay, so we've had a few questions on this. It depends. I need you to tell me what type of business entity you are, because taking draws is paying yourself. Okay, it's not paying yourself salary. If you're an S-corp and you're only taking draws and not salary, you can't get anything to pay yourself. Okay, for an S-corp or a C-corp, it's only wages that you are paying payroll taxes on. That's considered your payroll. An S-corp only pays payroll taxes on W-2 wages paid to themselves, which you should be doing if you're an S-corp. You should have a reasonable salary. You shouldn't only be taking draws, right? Because that means you're not paying any payroll taxes. Sole proprietors and LLCs, however, are different. Sole proprietors and LLCs, they pay payroll taxes on all of their profit, which is why they use the profit number. The Schedule C line 31 is what you use, regardless of whether you took money out of your business, didn't take money out of your business, doesn't matter. If you're a sole proprietor LLC, doesn't matter how much you took out, left in, none of that makes any difference. It's only what your profit was at the end of the day, because that's what you're paying payroll taxes off of. Essentially, the payroll portion for an owner is what you pay payroll taxes on. That's how they came up with these rules around net profit for a sole prop, W-2 wages for an S-corp. It's because that is your basis for payroll taxes. And if it's a paycheck protection loan, it's based on payroll, right? So that's how they come up with that for the different types. No, you have to it's only W-2. S-corp only owners, it's only W-2. It's no other distributions. Again, same reason. You only pay payroll taxes. You're only paying self-employment taxes, payroll taxes on your W-2 wages, which is why that's all you can use. Everything else is basically like investment income. That's why you don't pay payroll taxes on it, right? That's why S-corp save money, is because there's a portion of your earnings that you're taking out basically as a distribution to yourself, as a dividend almost. That's not earned income. therefore you don't have payroll taxes on it. But then you can't tell them now, you can't come back and say, well, wait a second, that's money I took out. I should get that in the Paycheck Protection Program. You said it wasn't your paycheck. You didn't pay taxes on it like it was your paycheck. You paid taxes on it like it was an investment, right? So that's the why behind it that I think has a lot of people getting frustrated, but it's kind of like this having your cake and eating it too thing, right? You can't be payroll for one purpose and not payroll for another purpose. Okay, let's see. I did not get the PPP the first time. I did, however, get the EIDL and $1,000 grant. If I apply for PPP this time around, how many weeks is it for? So you get 2.5 months worth of payroll. That's how they calculate the loan. It's 2.5 months worth of payroll. So if you have employees, that's 2.5 months of payroll for your employees and yourself. If you don't have employees, that's 2.5 months of payroll for you, which if you are, like I said, a sole proprietor LLC, that's based off of your net profit. So it's 2.5 months, but you have up to 24 weeks to spend it. You can cut that off at any time. So if you spend it all in 12 weeks, great. It's got to be at least 8 weeks. Can't do it in less, right? So your covered period has to be at least 8 weeks, but then if you use it in 10, 12, 15, whatever, you can cut it off now. That was kind of the new rule. It used to be 8 or 24. Now it's any time period in between. Let's see. Oh, that's good to know. I hadn't looked at that specific thing, but you're only seeing the request for that's what I thought. I hadn't seen that either, the EIDL loan number on that revised forgiveness application. So once your bank updates with the new one, you may not have that application anymore, or that number needed anymore. With an s-corp, one employee, can I pay myself over the 24 months? I'm assuming you mean 24 weeks, under 300 and also collect unemployment. Be careful. Be careful. And s-corp owners are ripe for all kinds of things that could later on end up coming back and being called fraud. I'm not saying that that's the intent. I'm just saying when you play games with your own salary such that you can draw on unemployment at the same time and take your PPP, but be able to get both, that right there is the recipe for not good things. So I am not a proponent of doing that. My friend, and I'm going to post it in the group at some point because I think it was really helpful. My friend and one of our preferred vendors did a actual interview with a guy that actually went, again, this is not to you specifically, but there was a guy who went to jail for SBA loan fraud that she interviewed on her YouTube channel last week, I think. If anybody saw Clara CFO, Hannah Smolinski, so she interviewed him about kind of some things, and he got an SBA loan. He got an EIDL loan after 9/11 and fudged a few things on the application and, used the money entirely to pay himself and did some things. And it was out of desperation, right? In a tough time, but he ended up in jail for loan fraud. Now, there's a lot that goes along with that. That doesn't mean that everybody, I don't want that to freak anybody out, but I do want you guys to know that they do come back and look at these things. So when we play games with unemployment and paying ourselves a certain amount from our business and unemployment and taking EIDL loans, and I personally, it would not be worth the risk to me. That's what I'm saying. I think we whereas right now it feels like I'm so small, they're never going to look at me, right? Like there's so many people, I'm so small. You never know. You never know. And I just don't want people to make decisions that come back to haunt them. Again, not to freak anybody out. This is a lot of money that is going out. And I just think we all need to kind of remember the intent of the money and the intent of what is happening and act in a way that does this seem ethical? Does this seem like an ethical thing to do? If you feel like you're gaming the system, you probably are, which is not what you want to be doing. Okay, let's see. It's revenue for a specific quarter. So during a specific quarter. So download my PPP calculator, jamietrull.com/PPP calculator. That's gonna help you calculate out the 25% reduction. Yes, that's what I mean by s-corp. There's no actual legal status of an s-corp. If you're an s-corp, you're either an LLC that elects to be taxed as an s-corp or a c-corp that elects to be taxed as an s-corp. Instead of we accountants like to just say you're an s-corp because it's easier than saying, do you elect to be taxed as? So you are an s-corp. For you, it goes by your W-2 wages paid to yourself. Same thing. It's based on W-2 wages, 2.5 months of W-2 wages, just like any other employees that you have for a C-corp. Let's see. Any guidance for if your first draw PPP received in 2020 is forgiven in 2021? Does the forgiveness go on 2020? Neither, because you don't have, it's not going on anything, right? Because it's tax-free. When it's forgiven, it's tax-free. There's no taxability to it. And you can deduct all those expenses. So they changed that in the law that passed at the end of December, and basically said there's no tax implication to PPP. So the year does not matter. When you say claim for taxes, yes, you pay taxes on unemployment. It's personal taxes though. Does not go into your business, does not factor into your PPP, gross receipts calculation, anything like that. But unemployment is personal money that you do pay taxes on. And in a lot of cases, they let you withhold taxes on them as well, which I do recommend doing so that you don't have a big tax bill at the end of the year. Okay, I'll try to read this. This is big. I'll just say it like this. I'm a sole proprietor with no employees. I just received the second draft PPP approval. Okay. I plan to spend all on owner payroll as I don't have a lot of expenses. Question, is it okay for me to deposit into my existing business checking account, or do I need to open a new one to keep it clean? Do I need to show transfers of money from this account to my personal account evenly? Okay. Okay. I can't see your whole thing, but here's what I'll say. Now loans under $150,000 do not require documentation. So banks should not require a proof of payment to yourself. I still think it's good practice to make sure it goes and deposits into a business checking account. It is silly in general for them to require payment to yourself at all, but you never had to show it over any period of time. You could do it as one transfer, whatever. It's kind of silly again, because what's going to happen, right? You're probably going to transfer all that money to yourself and then transfer the portion back into your business that you need in your business to pay bills. So it's the silliest thing, and there's no taxability. And I have a lot of thoughts about the ridiculousness of that approach to this, but it's because they need some kind of support, and that's what they asked for. They should not be asking for that anymore, but maybe not a bad thing to do. I don't think you need to open like a separate business account though. I don't think that is necessary at all if you have a business account already. And if you don't have a business account, you guys, I'm going to say it. I did for anybody who was on Aslo. I searched and searched and searched and found the perfect bank. And I've already even set up an account there. So Aslo is going away. Most of you guys who are on it know it. And so I like free business banking, Bank Novo. So go to jamietrull.com/Novo, because there's a special deal going right now. That was jamietrull.com/Novo. If anybody wants to write that, feel free, and I'll put it up on the screen. But it is a great bank, totally free online banking, 100% free, no minimums, none of that junk, no transaction fees, blah, blah, blah. And they have a great customer service. I know because I talked to them for like 3 days. And right now they have a deal that if you sign up for Bank Novo, you also are going to get, especially, I think it may just be for people coming from Aslo, but you might be able to get it. Check my link and see if you can get it, even if you can't. The first 90 days you have the debit card, you basically get 2.5% back, cash back, like on a debit card. So I'm all about that. So for all the things you're already spending money on, go for it. Thank you, Facebook user. Thank you. Yeah, Bank Novo. So if anybody's looking for a new bank, go check out Bank Novo. I really like them. They also have one of the things that Aslo had that I could not find anywhere. Bank Novo has, which is, Aslo called it envelopes, where you could like basically have an envelope that was still part of the same bank account. It wasn't a different bank account, but you could put money kind of to the side in it, sort of. So I use it for taxes. So that money is like out of sight, out of mind. I don't spend it. They have that. It's called reserves in Bank Novo, and everybody who's coming over from Aslo, it's currently in beta, but they're rolling that feature out to everybody who's coming over from Aslo. So FYI on that, go check it out. I'm really happy about them. That was an aside. Sorry, guys. Back to PPP. Let's see. So do I qualify for second round if I was unable to use full amount of first round in 24 weeks? So check with your bank. It does say that, I'm trying to remember the exact wording, but it does say something about the fact that you had to use it properly the first time. So you have to have used the money, I think, in order to get forgiven. So if you didn't use it all, then, or not, in order to get the second round. If you didn't use it all, you might have trouble getting the second round. My bank, even though the amount is under 150K, is asking for proof of 25% drop in revenue with initials. Now, when I questioned, she said the bank is choosing to do it. Yeah, so that is, as far as I understand it, that's within the right of the bank. The SBA for loans under 150K is not requiring proof at the time you get the loan of that 25% drop. That's what you're talking about. They will require when you come for forgiveness. That said, I've heard of a lot of banks that are like, nah, that's a lot of risk to me. I don't want to take that on. And so they have decided to ask for it anyway. So I don't know. It doesn't give you anything in guidance that says whether that's okay or not. The SBA doesn't need it. They're getting it to cover themselves. So some banks will probably take that approach. I think it's good just to have anyway. Honestly, I would rather, it would give me more, if I was going for it, it would give me more confidence if I had the bank take that information the first time, such that they wouldn't surprise me later and say, oh no, you actually don't qualify, right? Like I would actually rather give them that support because I feel like otherwise it's just kind of a little bit more up in the air. Let's see. We're already at 40 minutes, you guys. I got to be done here in just a minute. Okay. I'm applying for PPP first draw. I do receive unemployment, but if I'm approved for PPP, can I just immediately stop filing claims? Yes, you can. You can stop filing your claims. Look at your state unemployment rules and see if it addresses PPP, because some of them do, and some of them want you to take PPP equally over a, call it 10-week period, whatever you're paying yourself as an owner, and you can actually claim that against unemployment and it will reduce your unemployment, but potentially not get rid of it depending on how much PPP you're getting versus unemployment. I usually think it's best to just pick which one is best for you. So it sounds like, I mean, you could do that. You could also, you can. I would start with though what your state website says, what your state Department of Labor says about PPP, if anything. Some of them don't even address it. So you do still have to make payments even if you go out of business. So you still do have to make sure. Now, whether you keep your business account open or you start making them personally, ultimately, I don't know if it makes a difference, but you do still owe that loan. Let's see. Let's see. I'm just looking through for questions. Sorry, guys. I'm self-employed Schedule C. With respect to PPP, do I pay myself based on my pre-COVID weekly income level? So I talked about this a little bit. It's not about your income level. It's about you pay yourself based on your Schedule C net profit. So that's the amount you get, and that's 2.5 months worth of pay. That's what's considered pay for you. Did they retroactively allow certain operating expenses to be used for PPP1 as well? Yes. So in that 40%, right, you still have 60% that has to be used towards payroll. And the other 40%, you can use other operating expenses. They've expanded the definition of what's considered other. Okay. All right. So last question I'm going to take is Tim. Square isn't opening PPP2 until early Feb. Should I look somewhere else to go through? Do you think the funds will run out? I haven't looked. I don't know if anybody on here has looked, any of my preferred vendors that might be on here, if they've seen any updates on the availability of funding. I have not heard that it's getting low or running out or anything like that. So I can't give an answer. I don't want to give an answer, because if I give an answer and I'm wrong, then I don't want to hurt you. But I have not heard that it's like super urgent, going to run out right away type of situation. There's plenty of funding. The last round funding expired unused. I doubt that'll happen this time, but I would imagine, because a lot of banks aren't even lending yet, that it would be pretty shocking to me if they ran out that quickly. Okay, guys, that's it for today. It's Friday. I'm going to go get some coffee. And not think about PPP for a few hours. So you guys are awesome. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And yeah, we will chat soon. Talk to you guys later.